What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, the Bad Diggity Dizzle. Happy Friday afternoon to everybody. Now, I know that the Entertainment Fisk did a video on this already, but I figured I would give my thoughts on Brandon Marshall, talking about how the Giants are a poorly run organization. Now, you may think, I'm going to come on here and badmouth Brandon Marshall and rant and rave, kind of like I do Odell Beckham and the way I do Landon Collins. I mean, it's one thing for those guys because they both got paid, and they're both still in the league, and both of them are on losing teams, so there really isn't much to say. But Brandon Marshall comes out and says the Giants are a poorly run organization. Now, he was here in 2017, mostly injured that year. I think he played 5 games for us, but it is hard to argue with Brandon Marshall. It is hard to argue that this is a poorly run organization. It is. Since 2013, this team has been horrible. Outside of 2016, when we were 11-5, and again going into 2017, the Giants were a proverbial favorite to win this division and compete, to go deep into the playoffs. So they come off an 11-5 season. They had 2 All-Pros on defense, and another, a second-team All-Pro in Janoris Jenkins. So they had a really good defense in 2016, but it was masked by the fact that they played really poor teams, and when we played a good team, we got blown out. So we have had one winning record since 2012, and that was 2016, where again we played an incredibly weak schedule and beat all these teams by a touchdown or less. We might have beat Cleveland by 10 that year. I don't even think Cleveland won a game that year, and that game was close most of the game. So we struggled with Cleveland even. And I remember JPP picking a ball up out of the air and scoring a defensive touchdown in 2016. But the Giants are poised in 2017 supposedly to make a run after spending almost $200 million in defense. And it didn't work. There was an injury-plagued season, and I'm not making excuses for Ben McAdoo because if you watch the 2017 season, I look at that game against the Rams, that team quit. The Giants quit in that game. I knew McAdoo was done after the Rams game. I knew we were done. They quit. You could see guys giving up on plays. It was over. It was over. It's hard to argue because since 2015, this team has been absolutely in shambles. The ownership has been very poor. I haven't ranted on the ownership yet. It's coming, though. Trust me, we have another bad season. The ownership is going to get a rant from me. I haven't done a rant in a really long time, and they need one. But so after 2015, we fire Tom Coughlin, a 2-time Super Bowl a 2-time Super Bowl winning head coach, guy that's going into the Hall of Fame eventually. We get rid of him. We keep our dumb GM on, and Jerry Reese, who is the reason we're in such shambles to begin with. So ownership kept him, got rid of Coughlin. Brought in Ben McAdoo instead of a coach with a track record or anything. Decided to bring him in. He was a terrible head coach. No, they're just not a good players coach. Was Ben McAdoo, and again, he lost the locker room. There was a lot of culture issues here. According to Giants ownership, Landon Collins was part of that. Odell Beckham was part of that, as well as Janoris Jenkins. A lot of other people were part of this, which is why they got rid of all these guys. So after 2017, the ownership decides to get rid of our, head coach and our GM. Finally, turned out to be about 3 years too late for Jerry Reese, which is why we're in the situation we are. Backloaded contracts in 2016 for older players, and we ended up being very restricted as far as cap space went, which did not allow Dave Gettleman to make a lot of moves when he came in here. So Dave Gettleman comes in here. They hire Pat Shurmur. The ownership tells Dave Gettleman he has to win, so Dave Gettleman goes out and drafts Saquon Barkley. He's not trying to rebuild in 2018. We are trying to rebuild and win at the same time, which you can't do. So people can blame Dave Gettleman for 2018, saying we should have won quarterback. I don't know how much Dave Gettleman had to do with that 2018 draft. I really think that was ownership saying you got to make sure you build a team around Eli so that they can win. Didn't happen. They were terrible. Then, 2019, he went with Daniel Jones and started to rebuild. We fired Pat Shurmur last year, so Pat Shurmur was here 2 years. Ben McAdoo was here 2 years, and now ownership's talking about how if we don't improve, we don't start winning, Gettleman can be gone. So you just bring in a new head coach in Joe Judge. Now you're talking about firing a GM that's been here would only be 3 years if they got rid of him after the year. This organization has been a mess. It has been poorly run. I don't think you can argue that. Teams that are bad for the better part of a decade are poorly run teams. Because you don't see this with well-run organizations. You don't see them go in doldrums for 10 years, like the New York Giants, or the better part of 10 years. I mean, it hasn't been quite 10 years. It's been like 8 years. We've been really bad. We have lost 75% of our games since the start of the 2017 season. This is a poorly run organization. It's a historical organization, and it's got great history. And that's fantastic. We can talk about the 4 Super Bowl championships. We can talk about the 4 NFL championships. We can talk about your Lawrence Taylors, your Eli Mannings, your Michael Strahans, your Sam Huffs, your Amani Toomers. You know, we can talk about Y.A. Tittle. We can go on and on and on about Giants legends. You know, Harry Carson. We can talk about these guys all day. But that doesn't help us in 2020. And that doesn't help what's happened the last 3 years. The history is great. But right now, we are in a transition phase, and it has not been good. The ownership needs to get it together. There's no doubt about this. And this team, as Chris and I talked about last night, you need stability here. You need stability with this team. You can't keep changing parts every year. You can't get rid of the GM, then get rid of the coach. Then get rid of the GM, then get rid of the coach. Then get rid of the coach, keep the GM, then get rid of the GM as you bring in a new coach. You can't do that. The Knicks do this every year. The Knicks have been bad for 2 decades. Because every year it's a new GM, it's a new coach, it's 8 new players. How do you build any stability when you keep changing everybody around? And if we get rid of Gettleman, you're going to start all over again with this rebuild process because whoever the new GM is going to want to bring his own guys in here. I can't argue with Brandon Marshall. It has been a poorly run organization. He was here for the worst of the years. 2017 was the worst year I can remember. It was a really bad team he was a part of. Now, I don't know how much say he has in this and how much weight his statements hold because he was here for 1 year. But that 1 year he did see, and I can't argue. This team needs to be better. There's no doubt about that. I'm sick of losing. I know the Giants are sick of losing. And I know every fan is sick and tired of losing. I know they're sick of it. I think we're headed in the right direction. The ownership better just stay the course with this thing and let it ride out the way it's supposed to. Because I'm hearing all these rumors about if they don't win 6 games, or they don't win 8 games or something, Dave Gettleman's gone. That'd be the dumbest thing they've done. I know a lot of people don't like Gettleman, and I understand that. I completely understand that side of the argument. But you got to give the guy a chance. Can't keep switching GMs. It's not how you win. So, Brandon Marshall's statement, again, he was here for 1 year, so how much weight does that actually hold? But I think he's right. I think the organization has been poorly run in the better part of the last decade. It's hard to argue when like I said, you've lost 7 out of the last 8 years and you're 12-36 in your last 48 games. That's not getting it done. Hopefully this year is different. And I'm going to have my my preview, my schedule preview will be up tomorrow. I was just busy today, so I didn't get a chance to do it. But hopefully, tomorrow I'll have that up. Maybe I'll have another video or so. But anyway, that's all I got. This video has run long enough. And that's just my thoughts on it, man. Brandon Marshall, like I said, not really a giant here for 1 year. So you take it with a grain of salt. But I think what he said does hold a lot of weight because this team's been bad for a long time. Get it together. It's bad diggity dizzle, and I am gone. Peace!